Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 5 and episode number 642 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, May 6th, 2025, and not quite sure what kind of day it's going to be at the Beaver Lodge today because I actually did not look at the weather. It's kind of a little grayish when I was outside, but I'm not sure if we're going to looking at a sort of just a gray day or a sunny day. We just had a lot of rain last night. Well, and there was a rain warning. We didn't get as much rain as the rain warning said we would, but so yeah, we're sort of like that system sort of moving out. So we don't know what I'm not sure what the rest of the day has in store for us. But you're here and I'm here and my good friend Mr. Grizzly is here as usual. So it's already a good day, eh? A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And in case I didn't say it, I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey. Mr. Grizzly, I know we had a little couple of tech stuff, but other than the tech stuff, how's your mental health today, sir?
Shouldn't be that bad, actually. I'm a little tired. It wasn't the best night's sleep, but yeah, no, I'd say okay, all things considered. I'm here. I'm present. I'm feeling the vibe.
I like that, feeling the vibe.
I don't know.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay. Yeah, things are pretty cool here. I gotta say, my sleep schedule is completely all off. However, um, as you know, people who watch the show and the kids and cubs who watch the show know my beaver sweetie, the light of my heart, who, by the way, deserves some congratulations because Monday was his first day teaching a full course, like from beginning to end, as a professor, not like tenured or anything like this, but hired at his actual alma mater, same university from which he graduated.
Nice.
So it's a big day. It was a big day. It's a big achievement. So there's some celebrations here at the Beaver Lodge. I am very, 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 very proud of my beaver sweetie. So just a round of applause there. But yeah, my as much as I love him and as much as I'm proud of him, he snores from time to time. So yes, I think yesterday I was up at around 3:30 rather than 5:30 or something, and yesterday it was as I had gone to bed really early last night as a result. So last night it was around 2:30. So if it keeps on moving 1 hour at some point, I'm gonna have to yeah. So my clock's a little off by around like 7 or 8 o'clock. I am like pooped. It's bedtime, I'm feeling. So I need to sort of bring myself a little bit more to regular hours. However, for me, right now, given what it's 7, I woke up at 2:30, it's sort of like, it feels like it's, like 11 AM for me
Mm.
right now, so I'm, like, right in the prime of my day. Oh, man. I gotta get back on a regular schedule. Well, 'cause, my Beaver Sweeties classes that he's teaching are all in the afternoon, so if I maintain this particular schedule, we're gonna be like 2 ships passing through the day.
Right.
Coming back from teaching the classes, you know? It's like this is like it's like, "Good morning, Ralph. Good night, Fred."
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Mm.
Checking in, checking out. So, yeah, but so proud of him. So, yes, very good. All right. Listen, there's news, right? Danielle Smith had her Q&A finally to the live stream she did, the WTF live stream she did the day before. And of course, I think it was minutes before Prime Minister Carney was supposed to deliver his take back to Canadians on what happened that day. That's when she was taking questions because it was scheduled for 3 and like at like 2:48, something like that, she was still taking questions. So she put her little "I'm going to take questions" thing sandwiched right in the corner pocket just before Prime Minister Carney was scheduled to speak after the big meeting with Trump thing.
Mhm.
So, like, not a lot of us would pay attention to it. And I don't really know what it is she said because I didn't pay attention to it yesterday, but, uh, I've got it in the filing cabinet and I will be going to watch it, so don't think we forgot about you. Okay. I saw what you did. Okay. And then, of course, we still have Doug Fort to get to because, he's saying these things about laws and stuff
Yeah, he's being ridiculous.
that are a little concerning,
A little concerning?
quite a bit concerning. So we need to get back to him too at some point, right? Jeez, there's a lot of stuff going on. But this is uh, the moment,
Mhm.
right? I mean, the 51st state stuff started, the Governor Trudeau stuff started, the sort of, oh, this is not a joke. This is like sort of like manifest destiny, annexation, sort of corporate hostile takeover, call it whatever you want, type talk. Okay. Okay, we need to do something about that. Whoops, okay. Oh, look, meanwhile, back in liberal land, Christopher Freeland stabs Trudeau in the heart. Okay, so we have a leadership race. Oh, let's see. Who do we have to pick from? Oh, maybe a central banker that understands something about economics and whatnot. So let's just bring him in. And well, then he got elected party leader and then prime minister, all on the basis that we're picking this guy in this moment to face the other guy that's there in this moment. And this is the moment where they're going to meet for the first time. There's been a couple of phone calls, but this is the whole thing, right? I put
Mhm.
my hand up. That's what Prime Minister Carney said, then candidate Carney. Put my hand up because I think I have abilities that are particularly suited for this moment. This is first contact for us. Remember, there have been a couple of phone calls. These meetings usually are carefully choreographed. Advanced teams do a lot of work on this type of stuff now. Again, you got to think about it. Normally, these meetings take a long, long time to prepare. This was arranged very quickly for this level of meeting. and the people that were in the room, right? Because you had Prime Minister Carney, but Prime Minister Carney was there with Melanie Joly, Foreign Affairs Minister, with Dominic LeBlanc,
Mhm.
right? With McGuinty, Public Safety. And on the other side, Marco Rubio, their Foreign Affairs equivalent. J.D. Vance, Vice President. Howard Nuttlick, Commerce Secretary, right? You will note that international, I think she's at International Trade. Is where Christopher Freeland is, if I'm not mistaken. I need
Don't
to
quote
check
me.
that. For some reason, that my head is like mixed between transport and international trade. So let me say, but she was not there. Some people were noting. You'll see some video going through social media, going like Team Canada. Most are male or white. I wonder if there's a reason for that. So, if there was a reason for that, uh, how would I say? If presenting a face, let me put it this way: when there's dealing with certain people, and you want to earn your favor, and you want to earn their favor, humans do this thing that's called mimicking. Often, you see it when people are dating, right? They're looking at each other. There's some chemistry going on, and one person touches their hair, and the other person adjusts their hair in another way, like this. One person leans in this way, so the other person leans in that way, right? There's some mimicking going on here, right? There's there's a bit of that, right? Oh, this is what you like. This is what you like to see. Here, let's show you what you like to see. It's crass. In this case, it's super sexist. Let's just admit it. But if we're talking pure strategy, it removes noise. If that is the reason that was, if any thought, we have no data to suggest that anything went into the composition of the team other than absolute merit. But if the team had demographics such that a man who doesn't necessarily think as highly of women, particularly in the boardroom context, then presenting him with a boardroom within which he's much more familiar and feels more much at ease and comfortable might be a strategic decision that you would like to put in place. Maybe, right? So again, mimicking, mirroring, that type of stuff, that's going on here. I'm just taking a look here because I see Mr. Grizzly on my screen is frozen, and he is on yours too. So yeah, exactly. So I see the kits are okay. I'm still live. Uh, Mr. Grizzly says his Mac is crashing. Oh darn. All right. And yes, I see here. Kit Mel C. Trump does not like Freeland. Bringing her would have went badly. Absolutely. Now again, right. Trump likes the whole destabilization thing. So if Canada were to do that, that could have been us doing the same thing, right? There's this infamous story of Vladimir Putin meeting Angela Merkel and it being known that Angela Merkel doesn't like big dogs in particular. And Vladimir Putin shows up like with a big dog, like a German Shepherd or something like that. And says, "Hi, how are you?" Like this. And, you know, Angela Merkel was able to maintain the poise in that moment that was required like this because clearly this is an intimidation thing and she saw what was going on. So even though she had a fear of big dogs, she still maintained her disposition and there was a little interaction, then they left. Well, she never forgot that. Never forgot that. Yes, and after she had retired and all that kind of stuff, even though that had happened years ago, Putin was still like, "No, no, I really just wanted to introduce you to my dog. I wasn't trying that." Like, just still trying to do that, right? So there are always often these little domination plays that are attempted behind the scene, right? So when I'm titling this episode "Masterclass in Diplomacy," right? There are lots of things going on, lots of little messages, right? Lots of little moments here and there, and each of them have significance, and each of them have to be played a certain way, right? We learned, back in the days of Prime Minister Trudeau, that even the handshake, after what Donald Trump was doing with people, the domination plays, the pull-in and whatnot, and then Trudeau came in with the shoulder grab. Hey, right? Found the move. All of these things, and now ever since, like, we're looking at, oh, the handshake, like everybody was talking about, what will happen? Like, that's all in our psyche now, right? So all of these moments have significance, have symbolism, have meaning, and there's an issue of tone, but you still have to be, if you're representing your country, if the moment calls for it, you still have to stand for your country, but it's diplomacy. So there's a way to do it, and there's a frequency with which to do it. And there are things you need to let slide. And there are things, because there's going to be another meeting afterwards and you can deal with those then. But there are things you need to let slide. And then there are things that you absolutely need to deal with because the cameras are on and you're still the representative of your country. Yes, in the public moments, that is, right? But you have to pick your moments and choose your battles, right? You can't be a human fact check machine, especially with this guy, because you'll always be interrupting. Well, that's not going to go well. Because remember, there's only room for one star in Trump's sky. So you can't disturb that, right? You have to know who your, I don't want to say opponent here. Okay, I'm going to say interlocutor here. You have to know who your interlocutor here is. Because their strength, their weaknesses, what they like, what they don't like, areas of discussion that are prone to lead to agreement, areas of discussion that are prone to get people's back up. That's, things that make people prickly. And if you're going to places, finding a way to present it, it's a skilled art form, right? It's very, very, and especially everyone's watching and all the cameras are on too, right? And, everything that you say after you say it, somebody's going to go back and it's going to pick it apart like we're going to do right now. So, right? Got to call it like it is. So, um, and then in all of that, like that's just in normal relations. Then you have to add the unpredictability of the Trump camp, right? Then you have to add, uh, how would I say? You have to add not only the unpredictability in two ways. One, that you don't know if he's going to zig or zag on a position or just throw something new. Two, and after the Zelensky thing, you don't know if you're going to be ambushed. So there's a lot of contingencies for which you got to prepare. So yesterday, it was very clear that Mr. Carney was very, very well prepared. Now, one of the things that everybody's been saying, like this, you might have to have some low expectations of Carney because he's new at politics. And he is new at politics, but he's not new at diplomacy. Having been the governor of two national banks, having been a high level operative in the Ministry of Finance, but not the minister, right? You pick up having worked for the UN as a climate envoy with various nations. Some were gung ho and some who really don't want to. You pick up a lot of diplomatic skills. So on politics. As a politician, maybe, but as a diplomat, he's got this. Right? So, but this was the moment to sort of see, did we get what we paid for with our votes for all intents and purposes? And of course, right, what surprises were going to come our way? One of the surprises that came our way came from the Conservative Party through Pierre Poilievre, who in his first scrum sort of public media appearance, because the Conservatives were having their caucus meeting. Apparently it was a long affair. Apparently it started at 9 and went past 5, so a lot of people had a lot of things to say, it would seem. But that's also news for another day. Before that, he actually said that he wished the Prime Minister well. No, Canada is broken and we're so dependent, and so we better fix that. Just sort of, just the
Which
sort
way
of,
was the wind blowing that morning?
yeah, but it's like, again, right? Don't get me wrong. He doesn't get a cookie because that's the damn job.
Mhm.
But it's new behavior. And you know how I feel about new behavior. Pay attention. Because usually, because often, not, I shouldn't say often, because some people do generally try to turn over a new leaf. But often, it's suspicious. But new behavior. In this case, you know what? I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'll take it because that's what's needed, particularly on that day.
Well, sorry, I was gone for a few minutes there while my computer decided it wanted to freeze and crash
Mm.
for whatever bizarre reason. Since the latest update to the Mac OS, it's given me nothing but headaches. So I'm going to be spending several hours today trying to fix things. But I won't take my frustrations out on anybody on the show other than I couldn't watch the whole, would you call it a press conference? I don't even know. I couldn't watch the whole meeting.
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't know
10
what they
minutes
call
in
those
and I'm
things.
like, it's not a scrum, it's a sit down, I guess. But
Yeah.
within the first 5 to 7 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I'm
I
listening
know.
to a rambling idiot.
Oh, it got
Like,
better.
oh, I know. I've seen clips. It's like, this guy's an idiot. Like, now I've been saying it for a long time, but he just rambled on about nonsense that had nothing to do with the reason they were there. Oh, and you know, he came from behind and he had a bigger victory, possibly than me, and you know, many bad things, and we've been taking care of them forever. And the trade. I'm like, what? Okay, nothing what he said has any basis in reality, any, because Mark Carney didn't start from behind to begin with. He never did. He became the Liberal leader, and then he had a huge lead. Well, a lead to begin with. He was never behind. So it's like, that's not even factual. But the whole, well, you know, we subsidize them. No, you don't. You have a trade deficit because you buy our oil. We provide them free military. No, you don't.
Buying things from other people is not subsidizing.
No, it is not. By the way, this little graphic I've got on the screen right now shows you Canada's responsibility for controlling the air as our agreement to the U.S. air defense, NORAD, North American Air Defense. The identification zones. Everything you see in pink on the screen is Canada, and everything you see in blue is the United States. U.S.-Canada East-West sector boundaries. They patrol those together. But the North, that's all Canada, with the exception, of course, of Alaska, which
Right.
is U.S. territory.
Well, north and a lot on the northeast as well.
Northeast, the West Coast, that's all Canadian territory. We guard it all. We always have. Ugh. Yeah, he went on about Ovechkin, but and Wayne Gretzky, the great one, and here in Washington, he recently broke the record. You mean the Russian guy? That guy?
Yeah, apparently he deported Ovechkin to Canada.
Ovechkin just doesn't know it yet. Well, and this, I've got a quick 17-second clip you have to see to believe. It's with the reincarnated Jewish Goebbels.
Yeah, this way.
Well, first of all, I had the pleasure of getting to be at the meeting today between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Canada. What I witnessed was like watching a grandmaster in chess perform. President.
Yeah, the Grand Master was the Prime Minister of Canada who handled that infant by speaking very few times because he really didn't need to, because Trump kept sticking his foot in his mouth. It's like watching it. It was so cringeworthy. It's like nobody in that administration has the cojones to pull Trump aside and say, "Shut up. Stop talking. You're digging yourself into a giant hole here." It's just, I don't know what you're trying to put on the screen there.
I have no idea what happened there.
Couldn't tell you, sir.
Sorry about that. So this is the one I was trying to show you.
Yeah, that was the clip that I just showed a second ago.
I know, but look who subtweeted it.
Please, Gary Kasparov, yeah.
Chess
a
master.
chess
Actual
grandmaster.
chess master. I saw that one this morning and I'm thinking, okay, that is chef's kiss. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump is a chess master. Enter Gary Kasparov. Girl, please. Well, not girl, please, but please. The girl was mine. It's like, listen, look, as terrifying as this moment is, come on, these things would not have been possible without this moment either. I'm thankful for the little things.
This one here from PNC Bio, and I can't argue with this, is the MAGA folks think Carney was differential because he called him transformational.
Yes.
Everyone else sees it for what it was. Positive reception on non-lunatic TV in the U.S., positive reception in Europe.
Yes.
He is a transformational president.
Exactly.
He is. There's no lying.
No, that's not a lie. Exactly.
He's not an Autobot, though.
But the thing is that he's not a transformer.
No, he's a transformer, but he's the bad kind. He's a Decepticon.
But here's the thing, right? When I'm talking about a master class in diplomacy, he's a transformational. It's not a lie.
It's diplomacy.
And depending on which side of the ledger, when Donald Trump hears you're a transformational president, he hears one thing. When we hear you're a transformational president, we hear another thing, because transformational is one of those things like interesting or cute.
Fascinating.
It's
the old saying, the art of diplomacy. How do you define diplomacy? Well, that person is so unattractive, they could stop a clock. They've got a face who could stop a clock. So how do you say that diplomatically? When I look at you, time stands still. That's the art of diplomacy, right?
Exactly. So, and then there was another one later on. It says, "What you revitalized, the discussion about NATO or something like this." Yeah, he did.
Yep.
He definitely revitalized.
It's the way to say exactly what you want, and the interpretation thereof by the individual you're saying it to is like, oh, he thinks I'm wonderful. When in reality, you're saying, no, you're an idiot. And everybody outside of this room recognizes that, other than your cult, because it is a cult.
But you have the total and complete fig leaf of plausible deniability.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
especially on your first meeting when you don't have a track record, especially when all your phone conversations have been extremely pleasant, so much so that, well, I mean, you know, he had nice things to say about Carney. And again, today, well, yesterday, I should say, lots of effusive commentary for Carney. So, again, when you talk about Carney had a meeting with Danielle Smith, I don't know what he says to these people
Hmm.
or how it is that he talks, but clearly, if we're talking about boardroom experience, the good people who are at the head of the boardroom who are chairing these boardrooms are people that are very good at hearing what you say and
Yes.
taking it and saying, "So what I hear is," and then finding a way to incorporate the thing that's in there's all the noise and all the grievance and whatnot, but taking the thing that's important out of it and say, "So what I'm hearing is this, is that right?" Okay, like, so maybe there's a way that we can take this and fit this in so that we can move forward, right? Just taking that idea and put it and working it in, right? He has that ability. You saw it in the debates, right? You saw how he diffused tension with Monsieur Blanchet at one point.
Hmm.
He's going away in the English debate, turn around to Monsieur Blanchet, "On se parle. On va se parler, okay?" You know, it's like, "Okay, d'accord." Right? It's like, that is some of it is innate, some of it's learned, some of it's skill, whatnot, but that doesn't just happen. And when you consider that, you know, what they keep on saying is that a plan, a strategy, then meets first contact and, how much of it survives. Uh, you don't know what the other person's going to say. You have an idea.
Hmm. Hmm.
Diplomacy, you try to, like, say, if I say this, they're most likely to say that in return, and everybody has their sort of standard lines, but again, he's more unpredictable and colors outside the line, so you never know what you're gonna get. Yes, but there are things that are gonna happen in the moment. Because and do you pick up on them, and can you use them and turn them in right away? And we see that Carney also has that ability
Oh, yes.
in this. So, he is very quick on his feet.
Well, this is no surprise to those of us who've seen him in action before. And he's just, there you go. He negotiates like a banker.
Now, the other thing that struck me about this meeting is when it was done, because the meeting ended abruptly. There is how to put it, the thing was going well, and suddenly it's like, oh wow,
Yeah,
that turned dark.
went off the rails rather quickly.
All of a sudden, not dark like in a terrible way, but just like,
Oh,
oh, okay, oh, that consider, okay,
all right. Sure.
we're
Yeah.
going back to the rhetorical safety blankets. They're the greatest hits. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we don't need anything from Canada stuff. We don't want you to build. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
So, to me, it seemed I got the impression that Trump was a little destabilized,
A
just
little
a
bit.
little bit. Yes, and that he had to go. So different a couple of things happened that were different. One, the scheduling of this was different. I believe when the Zelensky meeting happened, they had the closed meeting first, and then they had the public availability, right? In this case, they made sure to have the public availability first. So he drives up. So what they've had a couple of phone calls, whatever's the arrangement, drives up. They have the first initial handshake. They chat a little bit as they're walking to the place where they're going to sit down. The camera's going to be on, and they talk. So there's no animosity yet that's happened in the meeting. There's no really frank talking.
Correct.
There's a lot of candor. Yet that's happened yet. There's nothing to drag out of there like this. So this is a strategic decision. Again, these things are choreographed in advance.
Hmm.
It's going to be just nice pleasantries, whatnot, that type of stuff. Great. It happened. Nobody has any reason to bring any resentment from the meeting yet. So that happens. They have the meeting. There are other events throughout the day. It seems that throughout the day, when he was at other events, again, there was a lot of sort of like, um, I won't call it, it's not praise. Um, appropriate flattery, because we know that flattery works with him.
I would say that was an accurate description. Yeah.
So it would be saying true things that put him in a good light.
Ish.
Think of it as the compliment sandwich, right? Because when you have a criticism, and say, I love your dedication to this thing, but I think if you could be a little more precise there. But when you put it together, I have confidence that you can make a really great product, right? The compliment sandwich. So something that puts the president in the good light with something that we have to say, and then closing it off with something that puts the president in the good light. So the thing that we say that could sort of irk him, or that we're on which we're pushing back, is closed off with something on which we agree, for example, or something that's, for example, you know, uh, well, this thing is there, but it's true that you have indeed revitalized the military, right? Tend so, and then that's the last thing he hears, and then he can latch onto that and run with that rather than the criticism, right? Or the gentle critique. So that happened a lot during this as well. And again, that's as that, and apparently throughout the day when they were stopping and they were doing that kind of stuff was happening again. So it's um, appropriately greasing the pan without being obsequious or oleaginous in a Mike Pence kind of way. Oh, the president's masterful display, right? Or like we saw the other day, Andrew Scheer talking about Pierre Poilievre's inspirational leadership. Yeah, inspired a lot of NDP and Black Quebecois votes to go to the Liberals to stop you. Right? Notice they don't talk about the other thing it inspired. Only one half of the thing it inspired, because that side works for them, but the other side doesn't. So again, this is this kind of stuff that's going on here. All right. So, what I am going to do, given that Mr. Grizzly is taking some time to probably fix what's going on with his computer, I am going to go myself to the clips, and now we'll be watching the feed from Global News when it comes to this. So, the first thing when it comes to these meetings, of course, is the arrival, right? Because that's when the whole shaking hands thing is going to take place. So, right here, we have the image that um, Mr. Carney arrived the night before. So, he's staying at a place called Blair House, which is only about 200 to 300 meters away from where they are going to be meeting. But still, he's going to be arriving by motorcade, for the whole ceremony. There's a bit of military uh, greeting and that type of thing for him. Now, again, we talked about Trump, right? He likes his little domination plays. Well, that was the case as well for yesterday. There was a tweet or a truth or whatever social media post that he put out. Uh, Social media post that he put out that talk about 51st state stuff like that, again, just minutes before it. So maybe staff will see it and throw you a curveball right before the meeting, destabilize you a little bit, that type of stuff. And then Trump was also 15 minutes late, which when you're the president of the United States could be legit. There might be something, but making people wait is a bit of a domination play. So you'd have time to stew and maybe wonder and question yourself and doubt, right? So these things are happening. So, Mr. Grizzly, I'm not sure if you've got things lined up.
Just a minute.
Okay, I've got the thing lined up for the first one.
Do you want the greeting? Is that what you wanted to show?
Yeah, the greeting. Yeah.
Okay. Just a sec. I have
Okay.
it ready to go here.
So
This computer is going to really irritate the hell out of me today, so I'm just giving you a heads up.
yep, we'll do the best we can. So he was staying there overnight at the Blair House, and this is President comes out, gets the word that he's coming, gets out, and waits for the arrival of his guest. As you can see, Canadian flag there. A little bit of thumbs up from the president. Some, for lack of a better word, I will say honor guard. I'm not sure. Comes the motorcade. You see the Canadian flag with the gold on it. That's specifically for the Prime Minister. So.
Mr. President, are you close to a trade deal? Canada as you meet the new Prime Minister, sir.
Okay. You see the mirror ring there?
Yeah.
So the handshake came out. Mr. Carney came out and then put his hand a little bit on the forearm, not all the way up to the shoulder, but a little on the forearm. And when he saw there was not going to be a pull, just gently retracted. And then they turned around. Mr. Trump put his hand up, like did half a YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Carney saw it and like just did a little one himself. So little mirroring. So now we're going to have some initial pleasantries.
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada. And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take vote credit. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning. So I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics. Maybe even greater than mine, you know. But I want to just congratulate you, Rose.
Okay, come back. He was never behind.
Okay. But set that aside. What is the thing that Trump is most obsessed with?
Size.
The size of your comeback might have even been bigger than mine.
So do you think he's intimidated?
Let's put it this way.
Mine's bigger.
There's two people in here. Both of them pride themselves on their careers in the boardroom.
Mm-hmm.
In this meeting of two people who pride themselves of being in the boardroom, you are going to see which one has actually spent more time in a real world boardroom.
And not his own, where he was the master of everything. He actually had to deal with other people. He's practically genuflecting right here.
Well, that's the thing. He respects celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
In his world, Carney is a celebrity.
Oh, yes.
He respects money.
Well, and I would assume
Carney knows about money.
I would assume that he will not have to worry about his wife or his daughter making googly eyes at Mark Carney the way they did it to Justin Trudeau.
Oh, that's not nice.
It's a fact.
And Donald Trump respects, as Mr. Grizzly often said, maybe we just need a older white man.
Yeah, the guy, he's 3 years older than me. I mean, but
in a suit.
Yeah.
Mark Carney, look, Donald Trump keeps on dyeing his hair, remember. Mark Carney actually looks the part.
Mm-hmm.
Gray with the steely blue eyes and for this job, right? Trump, Pierre Poilievre is cinematic. Trump is television. The Frame, Central Banker, direct from Central Casting. Mark Carney. Like, come on. This is a good frame. So again, this is a good battle for him. This gets ratings.
Let's watch.
Anytime he's going to be next to Mark Carney, right?
We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, because we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. You know, we handle it with great love and 24-karat gold. That always helps too. Right? But it's been a lot of fun.
Has to say gold.
Going over some of the beautiful pictures that were stored in the vaults that were for many, many years, in some cases over 100 years. They were stored in vaults of the great presidents, or almost great presidents, all having a reason for being up, every one of them. So it's very interesting. But I just want to congratulate you, and ran a really great race. I watched the debate. I thought you were excellent.
He watched the debate.
I'm surprised to
I
hear that.
thought you were excellent.
Yeah.
Now, Uncle Don went for a walk there a bit, talking about the gold and the paintings and a couple.
Look what I've done to the Oval Office. Yes, you've made it a tacky dystopian nightmare.
Yes. And and a dig at Obama and Biden's that's probably not up yet, right? Just a little one there, but I watched the debate and you were excellent. So that's a lot of buttering up. Now again, Trump's playbook often is when he's dealing with someone new, butter them up first. I like to be buttered up. Maybe if I butter them up, I'll get what I want. It often doesn't work like this. And then stuff tends to get nasty when he sees that buttering up's not going to work. So a lot of people can go and turn around and go, oh my God, look how much Trump is buttering up. Yes, it is indeed. And part of it is he does respect that and all that kind of stuff. And Mark Carney's going to get a little more leeway because he's got that respect and that type of stuff. And Mark Carney knows it. But this is also standard go-to Trump. First, I'll try to flatter you. Then I will try to embarrass you a little bit with a joke. That doesn't work. Then I'll try to intimidate you. Then I'll try to, he's got levels, right? And depending, so Trump is still at the, let's see if I can flatter him into giving me what I want.
Well, when he talks about, we've put all the 24 karat gold, all I hear is this. I love gold. That's all I hear. it's Goldmember from the Austin Powers film. I mean, like, I love gold. That's all I hear. Okay, let's continue.
And I think we have a lot of things in common. We have some tough points to go over, and that'll be fine. We're going to also be discussing Ukraine, Russia, the war, because Mark wants it ended as quickly as I do. I think it has to end. We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings. And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think that's very, very positive. They were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas. It wasn't just the canal. It was a lot of other places. And I will accept their word. And
the rambling,
I know.
nonsensical rambling.
I know.
Look,
I know.
we all have our moments when we ramble. Everybody on earth does it. That's not up for debate.
Oh, we do a lot on this show.
I occasionally do it. I do. Here's the thing, though. Why is he doing this right now? It's not a show. He's having a meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada, a sovereign nation, his biggest trading partner.
But it's always a show. Remember.
Yeah.
The TV president.
Dementia.
We are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately. And Marco, you'll let everybody know that, okay? Do you have something to say about that, by the way? It's a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, this was always a freedom of navigation mission. These are, a band of individuals with advanced weaponry that were threatening global shipping, and the job was to get that to stop. And if it's going to stop, then we can stop. And so I think it's an important development.
And we'll have maybe before we're going to, as you know, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. We're going to UAE and Qatar, and that'll be.
You need to pay attention to the Prime Minister's body language
and
his facial expressions during this ramble.
Yes.
Because it gets, you can tell he's like biting his tongue.
Biting his tongue. Well, see, and here's the thing, right? Again, where we're saying a lot of people say, he didn't say this, he didn't say that. You can't be the human fact check.
No.
because
Not with Trump.
number one, there's so much, and one that'll piss someone off. So you got to choose your moments. You also have to try to make sure that you're containing your body language so that you're not betraying too much. And that's one of the things you could say about Team Canada. All the commentary is that we don't get to see them there, but literally to I don't know if it's let's say to the left of your screen, because don't know if that's to the left or right, or Mr. Carney off the top of my head, are the three
These are
Canadian
left.
ministers, and apparently all three of them through the entire time were like,
I don't
and
know.
nothing showed anywhere throughout the whole thing. No matter how crazy it got, they let nothing show.
I don't know what would cause anybody on earth to make the statement MG just did. Carney's a Trump fanboy. I'm sorry. Where are you getting that from? Or if it was said in jest, then okay. But if that's something you actually believe, I'm like, where's your information coming from? Because there's nothing to indicate that he even wanted to be in the room with the guy. Watch his body language.
I guess Monday night, some of you are coming with us. I think before then, we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive. And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. But it'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject, very important subject. So you'll all be here. Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually, for the big announcement. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl, much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic.
He's telling Trump everything Trump wants to hear.
Yep.
This is the art of diplomacy.
Yep.
The history of Canada.
Of all the things that we are doing, he selected the things that are doing that particularly speak to him.
Exactly.
And presenting that, like, well, this is very important to you, like this, and well, it's important to us too. Yeah. Again, more mirroring.
He's playing the game. He's very good at it.
In the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to, addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can move forward.
That's great. Very nice. Thank you very much. It's a very nice statement.
Mr. President,
Anybody?
Is USMCA dead?
No, it was actually very effective, and it's still very effective, but people have to follow it. So, that's been a problem.
Yeah, we've been doing
people
that.
Haven't followed it. But it was a transitional step a little bit, and as you know,
a little bit.
It terminates fairly shortly.
It doesn't terminate. It's up for review next year.
So
you were the one who initiated the whole thing, and you negotiated and said it was the greatest trade deal ever in history.
Yes, it goes to 2036. But he said it was good.
Yeah. People have to honor it. Well, that's what we've been doing. Well, no, we subsidize you. No, you just buy more stuff than we buy from you.
The whole reason Mark Carney is sitting in that chair is because he's not honoring. Because Trump is not honoring. So that's what I mean. Like, you could be sitting there in that. Okay, this meeting had plenty of potential political landmines, and Donald Trump was throwing bait all over the room. Okay, you could be sitting there and it was like, "What do you mean I didn't?" It's like, you got to sit there and you got to. Like, the entire time that Donald Trump went away with the Houthis, and then the real reason Donald Trump was there, hey, I got this big announcement coming on Thursday, showing you a little thought. Yeah, I know this Carney guy is here, but hey, look at my big shiny announcement that's coming. I guess
one has to wonder how Pierre Poilievre would have responded in that.
Exactly. But there's a thing in these meetings, right? Knowing, when you go to a restaurant And you say, wow, that was a great waiter. It's like every time I needed my water glass was full. And I didn't even notice the waiter pass by
Mm-hmm.
like this. And you did have interactions and talking to the waiter.
Server. We don't say
Server.
waiter or waitress.
Sorry,
Server.
You do have interactions like this. You remember having interactions, but you also remember like a lot of things just being there without even having to ask for it. It was just the bread just got refilled. Wow, how did that happen? Or like this, or we were deep in conversation. The person didn't interrupt, decided to come back a couple minutes later, or something, or stood back and watched. So in these types of things usually last only about 10 to 15 minutes before going into the meeting. This was going really well. Donald thought he was having a great time because this went about to 30 until it got cut really abruptly, which you will see. But like Donald Trump thinks that this is working for him, right? So he's staying there like for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But when he's going off in those moments, it's like, you know, that Homer Simpson thing where he just goes into the bushes?
Yeah.
There's
Just
that.
disappears.
Yeah. Mark Carney was perfect at doing that.
When
Oh,
necessary.
here we go.
I'll just get out of the way. Let him dig his hole that he's about to fall into. Yeah.
And like, and then all the bait, it's like, and you see, there's a couple times you'll see in his body language where he puts his hand up, like, oh, should I go for that one? Like this, and he's like, trying to think, and it's like, and there's a couple of them, there's like, I'm just gonna let that one pass right by.
He did that a few times.
Oh,
You can see him literally biting his tongue. I mean, literally, you could see him just, I'm just going to not speak right now. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Let him dig his own hole in.
Right, let's continue.
Shall we continue with
Absolutely,
this?
absolutely.
We'll just watch a little bit more of this until it gets to be too much.
As you know, it terminates fairly shortly. It gets renegotiated very shortly. But I thought it was a very positive step from NAFTA. NAFTA was the worst trade deal in the history of our country, probably in the history of the world. And this was a transitional deal, and we'll see what happens. You know, we're going to be starting to possibly renegotiate that if it's even necessary. I don't know that it's necessary anymore, but it served a very good purpose. And the biggest purpose it served is we got rid of NAFTA. NAFTA was a very unfair deal for the United States. Very, very terrible deal. It should have never been made. It was made many years ago, but it should have never been made.
Canada and the United States. Would you like to see your first trade deal be with Canada, our neighbors in the world?
I would love that. Look, I have a lot of respect for this man, and I watched him come up in a sense through the ranks when he wasn't given much of a chance, and he ran a really great campaign. He did a really great debate. I think that debate was very helpful. I was going to raise my hand. You know, I don't know if that's good or bad. I shouldn't say that. That might hurt you. But no, he ran a really great election, I thought. And yeah, something could happen. Something could happen. Yeah, please.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada.
He doesn't know what that word means.
Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives.
Yeah, what does that remind you of? We're going to be special friends. I'm sorry, excuse me? Take your arm off me.
that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no, I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, how good, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of respect. He is a big, tough cookie, too. He just broke the record.
He's Russian. He's Russian.
But Donald is trying to relate.
But Donald loves Russia and Russians. He should know Ovechkin is Russian.
He should, but he's trying to relate.
That being said, Ovechkin has always played hockey like a Canadian. So I don't think he knows enough about hockey to know that, though.
And he's a great guy. And you know, we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. but now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada.
None of that is true.
Okay. If you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
Okay. A lot going on in that section. Like a lot going on in that section.
Well, you know darn well after that meeting, Trump got together with his team and said, find me the owners of Canada. I want to talk to them about purchasing it.
But you'll notice that there was a double backtrack there, right? You're going to talk about the 51st state? Well, you know, I would like it, but it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
A recognition that we are not interested. Public recognition that we are not interested. Right?
The amount of blowback I've seen online from people going, this is an elbows down moment. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's called diplomacy.
Yep.
This is how you do this when you're dealing with a megalomaniac, narcissist idiot.
Yeah. You got to take the little hints, right? Like this.
Did you think he was going to come in there, Gordie Howe, ready to start punching people in the face? You can't do that.
You can't do that. No, you can't do that. You can't lose mastery of self. Right? And then he ends that segment with saying, you know, but we're not going to be discussing that today.
Mm-hmm.
Two backtracks in the same answer. Also talks about like it would be beautiful. It's something I would like. It would be a great marriage from a guy who's had three homes.
Third wife.
I'm just saying, maybe that's not a good image for you, sir, Mr. Trump. He goes, and then Carney slides in. Right? Trump earlier, a couple seconds earlier, talked about real estate. Mark Carney picks up on real estate.
Donald Trump was a real estate mogul. Not
Exactly.
a very good one, but that's what he was.
As you know, Donald, appealing to his deep knowledge, some places are never for sale.
Mm-hmm. And that he made
We're
that's
in
correct.
one right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Buckingham Palace,
Where you've
Trump
also been.
loves the royalty.
Mm-hmm.
Because also a hint to our sovereign coming.
Yes. I mean, there's double
Subtle.
entendres there, along with the fact that he was pressing all the right buttons to massage Trump's ego while getting his point across.
Mm-hmm. And
There's
Trump
an art to diplomacy, and this man is very good at it when you consider he's never been a politician.
Yeah. And on the other side, right, if you're thinking this as a tennis match, right, Carney's lobbing the compliment and then the like critique and then the compliment, because and Trump is like bait, bait,
Oh, yeah.
bait. Let's see if he bites at this. Let's see if he bites at that. So, Buckingham Palace and the White House not for sale. I just got finished talking to the owners of Canada. So, in other words, there's no sense in appealing to me, Donald. I have no
It's not
power to
happening.
change it. It's not my decision. I don't own the place.
I have marching
If
orders.
you're going to have to do that, you're going to have to convince them. Right? That's never going to happen.
Well, it's and the interesting thing.
So he deflects it off him. You can ask me all you want, but it's not my
It's not my
decision, and I
decision.
can't make it happen.
The interesting thing here, I thought, was how Trump acquiesced to his Canada is not for sale, because Trump has also, been asked, would you be willing to take it by force? Because he said he'd be willing to do that to Greenland and the Panama Canal. He's been very reluctant to say that about Canada because he's got generals who are saying, you have no idea the mess you would be stepping into. These are generals who have served with Canadian forces, who know, yeah, we might not be big, but we are goddamn mighty. Number one. Number two, we don't show mercy. You're trying to take our home? Oh, that's not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And number three, here's the most important one. They'd get kicked out of NATO immediately. All the NATO countries, by law, would have to support us because that would be an Article 5 violation.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world at the same time would go, with the exception of maybe Russia and I don't know, definitely Russia. I don't know who else, because I can guarantee you China would get in on this. They want our resources too.
Yep. And then think about the insurgency.
The
And
insurgency
would be much
alone.
larger here than it was in Afghanistan. 25% of us own weapons. I mean, we're a peaceful country, but 25% of ours are.
And we look alike. We look alike, and we know all your television shows, and we know your geography. You're not going to get us on. So, what part of New York City you in? Soho. In the Village.
Right. The insurrection would be brutal.
Yes.
I guess, and we're not Afghanistan. We are an advanced nation.
Yeah. That's the other thing.
Right. So
they couldn't beat literally an enemy of cave dwellers.
Yeah. So I mean,
20 years they walked away with their tail between their legs.
Yeah. So I mean, you can try. Again, the difference between taking a country and holding a country would be, again, right. So yeah, Carney does that masterfully. Right. So again, you got to pick your moments. That's one he can't let go. Right. Because especially since he's been asked about like 51st state, and it sort of came in the last days of the campaign. Why didn't you tell us and whatnot? So here it's like, no, 51st state. This, but adds the extra layer of it's not my decision. Now let's see what happens after that.
Second here.
And you could see that answer Trump when he was going, yeah, so like, yeah, you're right. you could see that.
I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
You see the body language from Carney?
Well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, we want to protect our automobile business, and so does Mark. But we want to make the automobiles, and we want to, we have a tremendous abundance of energy, more than any country. We have, just in Alaska alone, Anwar has been reopened now. Anwar is probably the largest find anywhere in the world. They say it's larger than Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but it's a lot. But we have tremendous amounts of energy. Other countries don't. We're both lucky in that way. They have energy. We have energy. We have more than we can ever use and more than we could ever sell, actually. And you have the same thing. So we're two countries that are very lucky. If you look at China, they don't have that. It's a big disadvantage. Other countries, most countries don't have. Most countries don't have that. So Canada and us, we have a lot of advantages over other places.
He just rambled off there.
Yeah, that's great
I
at
just found,
rambling.
but the acknowledgement that we're making the moves with our military,
Hmm.
public acknowledgement. He tries again, right? Never say never, never say never. And for those who are listening at home, you couldn't see it like this, but while all the journalists were clamoring on the next one, Mark Carney 5 times
Never.
mouthed with his mouth,
Never.
never, never,
Never.
but not in a threatening way, like in a fun sort of like, no, never, never.
Never.
Let's not, come on, never. That's not happening. Like this, but 5 times, 5.
Oh no, never, never though. No, 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 no.
No.
It just makes me think of that great line from Jon Stewart. I have it right here. Hang on. Here it is. Fuck off.
Jeez.
That's the Jon Stewart line.
Oh my God. Okay. Next bit's a little short. If my notes are correct, there's a little bit response here to the a journalist is asking Trump about his response to Carney having just pushed back.
Mr. President, when you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, Canada loves us and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see.
It is not to our benefit.
Okay. But again, right? Are you going to do it through force, through arms, which was a question he was asked previously, right? But only in a friendly way, only if it's mutual. So it's almost not, it's almost like it's being reframed now, not and it's only a matter of time. We're just going, we are going to get you, but it's more like, it's like, but we love you and you love us. Like, surely you want to be with us. I mean, look at how great we could be.
Well,
Which is
your taxes
less,
will be cut tremendously. No, they won't.
no,
The middle class actually pay more in tax than we do, number one. And number two, you'll have better health care. Excuse me? Only if I can afford it.
but he's trying to back away from the. If one is reading anything into this diplomatically, one could say that he is, you know what? Okay, listen, it's not going to happen. I get it. But I got a circus. So I'm going to keep saying it. But only in like a friendly, don't you think it would be wonderful? So in other words, the person who you've gone to school with ever since you were elementary school, who developed a crush on you in grade 3, and you're like in 3rd year university, and they still have that crush on you, and it's never going to happen. But still, every time they look at you, you see the stars and the hearts coming from their eyes.
Yeah. Well,
that type of thing. He's going to try to seduce us that way now, because I think he's noticing that force is not turning us on. So maybe if he sweet talks us,
he thinks it's a turn on. Grab him by the.
It's like, yeah, you're not grabbing us by the Beaver Donald.
No.
Just not. Okay.
Not
all right. All right. So, but yeah. So basically, that journalist question, if we were on the schoolyard, was, "Hey, he stood up to you. Are you going to take that?" Right. So but you see both of them at the same time, right? Is that going to be a problem? Both of them at the same time, and that wasn't looking at each other. It was both their natural reaction. No, that won't stop anything. So, there's a game here, right? They both know the game, and they're in the game. It's like, well, wait a minute, he just pushed back. I just got no, that's not going to stop anything. But wait a minute, he just did that in public in front of the cameras to you, Mr. President. No, that's not going to. There's a game. There's a dance. That's why I keep on, like, a lot of people keep on thinking like Donald Trump's stupid. Like this, In a lot of ways, yes, he is. In a lot of ways, he is. But there are other ways. He's got some weird form of intelligence that does eventually get him into trouble, but also gets him to where he is before he gets himself in trouble along the way too, right? So he's ultimately dumb and the dumb gets him, but he's not all dumb, right?
Dumb enough.
Dumb enough. That's perfect. Dumb enough to fuck himself over, but smart enough to get himself elected president.
Well, there's a lot of
He had
there's
a lot of help.
greasiness in there too.
He had a lot of help.
Yeah,
Had-
they're investigating some stuff right now. Let's
Had a
put it
couple
that
of huge head starts. Don't get me wrong,
way. Yeah.
but hey, again, if we're giving credit where it's due, he worked that system for good or for ill. He worked that system. He as the song in Evita goes, the greatest social climber since Cinderella. It's like, yeah. All right. So let's continue on here, Mr. Grizzly. Actually, is this it? You know what? Actually, let's jump this part because basically here from about we're at about 12 minutes and 51 seconds here, I think, or something like that.
That's where we are.
From about 12, actually, can we show a couple? Show the next couple of seconds for this one, but don't go all the way through because Donald Trump says something that's important to note here.
China.
I was hoping you can clarify something. Earlier this morning on Capitol Hill, Secretary Bessent said that they're having no negotiations yet with China. You have said something different.
They want to meet, and they're doing no business right now. And those ships are turning around in the Pacific Ocean. Big turn. Those are big ships. Those ships take about 10 miles to turn. And, we lost $1 trillion to China on trade because of an incompetent president that we had.
You lost $1 trillion. Really? Show me your work. Because I think you pulled that out of thin air. He just wants to slag on Joe Biden. There's not a shred of evidence to prove that, number one. And number two, it's a complete, total, and utter lie.
Who preceded me, grossly incompetent. You're finding it out more and more now. And by not trading, we're losing nothing. So we're saving $1 trillion.
He says that often. You're finding it out more and more now. He says that when he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
He does it all the time when he has no clue what he's talking about. Frederick Douglass, I understand people are learning about more and more all the time.
Yep.
Does he think Frederick Douglass is still alive?
So that's the bit I wanted to show you from that part. It says, we're not trading, we're not losing anything. If you're not trading, nobody's selling. And if nobody's selling, nobody's making that markup.
That means they're losing. Well,
Right.
PNC Bio, he erased $10 trillion from the U.S. stock market. Is that what he's talking about? Maybe.
But, so this part starts at 12:51, and he goes all the way through till 2048.
Do we want to play all that?
No.
Just rambling. Completely rambling about China. It's just none of it makes any sense.
Yep. It just it's absolutely just bonkers. Well, not bonkers. He's asked about China and whatnot, but then he goes and he talks about that, and then he's talking about other stuff, and then he comes back to his big announcement that's coming up. And
it's 7 minutes of your life you'll never get back, so we'll spare it.
Pretty much. But it's also like if we showed it to you all as it's going on like this, and if you put yourself in the shoes again of Prime Minister Carney, right? Everybody's like talking about, well, he didn't say much. He didn't. Well, of course he didn't say much. I mean, Donald Trump went on an 8-minute diatribe about nothing that had nothing to do with Canada.
Yeah.
At some point. So I was like, what's Mark Carney going to do there? So sorry, President, you're wrong on this thing about the Houthis. It's like, no, you just shut the fuck up. And
Let him dig his own hole.
You just
and then watch as his sycophants say, what a brilliant strategy that was.
It's like do not pull focus. At that point.
From Tom Trask. Is the $1 trillion in the room with us now?
Jeez. Oh, you guys are not nice. Oh my God. All right. So let's go to 2048.
Yeah, we're right there.
Can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis?
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
And where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear it. It's a very good source, I could tell you. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source.
What's the source then? Did he just make that up?
I got a great source, but I can't tell you. I got big news coming on Thursday, but I can't tell you.
No, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be bombed anymore. You know, I sort of thought that would happen. No, behind you, please.
Clarifying something you said on USMCA. Is the U.S. prepared to walk away from that pact?
From what pact?
USMCA.
No. It's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain things. It's there. We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know who I'm talking about. But you know,
Is he talking about Chrystia Freeland?
Chrystia Freeland, and they are friends, remember?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Mr. Carney, again, when I'm talking about bait, trust me, the Oppo team knows that one of them is the godmother or godfather to the other person's child, whatnot, and still in cabinet and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, talking about it, like I said, you saw Mr. Carney sort of like look down and roll his tongue in his mouth a little bit and stuff like that. And then, you know, Donald Trump turns around and looks at him and says, you know who I'm talking about, right? Because he knows. He knows Mark Carney knows who he's talking about, and Mark Carney knows that Donald Trump knows that he and Chrystia Freeland are close. And Donald Trump knows that Mark Carney knows that.
Watch his body language.
Person that worked for, she was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know who I'm talking about. But
You know who I'm
He's
talking about?
biting his tongue right there.
Yes, you know who I'm talking about. Just a little cock to the side.
Watch again. Watch again.
Deal, and she didn't get away with it. You know who I'm talking about. But you know, we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal, and we ended it. You know, we ended that relationship pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it.
Mr. President,
I'll say a word on USMCA if I may, Mr. President. It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change. And part of the way you've conducted these tariffs has taken advantage of existing aspects of USMCA. So it's going to have to change. There's other elements that are come, and that's part of what we're going to discuss.
Right.
During the campaign, Prime Minister Carney talked about the American betrayal. How do you react if Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries?
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint. They do a lot of business with us.
Hold on a second there.
There's two reasons to hold on this one.
We'll continue.
We're at like 4% And usually those things don't last very long. You know, we have great things, great product, the kind of product we sell nobody else can sell, including military. Look, we make the best military equipment in the world, and Canada buys our military equipment, which we appreciate, but we make the best military equipment in the world by far. The missiles, the submarines, everything. Everything we have is really top notch. I rebuilt our military during our last term. Stupidly, we gave some away to Afghanistan, which shouldn't have happened. But that was, I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. It was just very incompetent people. But if you look, the man that's now the head of our Joint Chiefs, he led the attack on ISIS for me. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And Raisin Kane, he was unbelievable. And as you know, we defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. And he ran the campaign. I said, I like him. But I knew him before. I went to Iraq, and we agreed to a plan, and that was the plan. And as you know, we did it in record time. So we have the best equipment in the world. We have the best, a lot of things. And but Canada does a lot more business with us than we do with Canada.
Okay, let's examine that, shall we?
Okay.
This is from TD. Chart 1. Canada is the second largest trading partner to the U.S. after Mexico. Almost $700 billion in 2024. Exports, 2024 total U.S. exports in U.S. dollars in billions, just under $350 billion. Canada remains the most important hub for U.S. exports. So that completely denies everything Trump just said. What is that? That's a fact from a bank.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is Canada buys 17% of what U.S. exports. So, like, we're their number one market, bigger than China and India and a whole bunch of other nations like combined. So when Trump says, we don't really have anything, Trump looks at it and says, like, it's only 4% of their trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but 17 or something, their trade with Canada represents 4% of their total trade, but 17%, I'm not exactly sure how the numbers work out exactly. But when we look at it from where their number one client, but of course they have so many clients. So when they look at it from their ledger, it doesn't look like a lot. But if you actually take out your number one client, you're going to feel it.
Well, and look, the trade deficit with Canada is the second smallest after France.
Yeah.
Canadian auto production, a small share of sales produced, consumed, U.S. versus Canada.
Yeah. So this, right, it's not true, right, on the overall number in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So that's not true. But he's also basically saying, right, his thing is, you don't have anything we need. How about customers? Nobody buys more off of you than us.
Well,
now,
there's 7 times Canada's population, right?
Right. Now, right?
Or 8 times or whatever it is.
Exactly, yeah. So he is in there saying that the USMCA is a good deal, right? In fact, he says, like, it worked out for everybody. So again, how would I put it? He's not walking away from it, and he's not necessarily saying, like, he's talking about a negotiation, but then at other times he's saying that it doesn't need to be fully opened up. And you see here that Prime Minister Carney intervenes, right? And again says, right, the USMCA is a basis for a broader negotiation, to which Trump says, okay. So he's basically taking what Trump is saying there, because he's rambling a little bit and putting it into sort of banker speak and going, but again, they're saying like this, we're not looking at trashing the USMCA. It looks like they're both agreeing we're looking to build upon that. So that already is a win. Right? But they do a lot of business with us, and we don't do a lot of business with them. That's not
It's just simply not true.
absolutely accurate in any way, shape, or form.
It's just not true.
All right,
We don't want their cars. We don't need their cars. Okay, we've been over 100 years. We've been doing this automobile thing back and forth across the border for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, he then goes off for another 5 minutes on something that we're not going to show you in there, mix in some like anti-DEI and woke stuff again. So this is something that's clearly talk that's meant to make a prime minister like one from Canada to feel uncomfortable, given that we are all so terribly woke and socialist, apparently. And again, this is one of these things where you're sitting there and you just got to let them ramble on while you are cringing in your seat. But this is not your moment, and this is not what you're here for. You're here for trade and security. You're not here to correct the President of the United States on morality or racism or just sexism, all the isms. You've got one very specific task, but again, it was just more bait like this. Let's see if the Canadian jumps at this. And it was
too smart for this. He's not going to take the bait.
But it's about 5 uncomfortable-ish minutes.
Oh yeah. No,
Yes,
it certainly is that. But
yes.
I mean,
And again, right? Like I saw a couple of comments there. It seems more like elbows, like you mentioned, seems more like elbows down and that type of stuff. And I've heard that all over. That seems to be the trope that's been put out. It's like not elbows down. It's pick your moments. Throw a few jabs.
Call the police.
I know, but it's like pick your moments, throw a few jabs, I guess, and wait for the bell to ring to go back to your corners because it's only the end of round 1, honey.
Yeah, this is the very first step.
But Trump was there, well, never say never, never say never, walking around like a dog, trying to pee on stuff, mark some territory. And, Mark Carney was like, well, as you know, being such a great real estate person,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, that's never going to happen. So knock it off. But the opportunity is in the partnership. Pivot to doing business. Pivot to the reason I'm here. The opportunity is like, that's never going to happen. But the opportunity I have for you, let's make a deal. Talking his language all the time. Very clever pivots.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the thing is that by ending it with that third thing, right? By ending with the pivot, it gives Donald Trump the pivot to seize upon rather than the rejection. So you're giving him you're giving him the save face exit after you deliver the critique. So he doesn't have to acknowledge the critique. But you said it because acknowledging the critique is very painful for him. So if you give him something else that you can deliver the critique, and if you leave him something else that he can take and run with, then you're okay.
Well, chum the waters, but
so it's let's put it this way: if we're looking for elbows up, elbows down, it's definitely elbows up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not elbows up in such a way that you're going to get yourself a 5-minute or ejected from the game.
No,
or get a penalty.
Gordie Howe was known for famously going into the corner, elbows up, and not getting penalized for it because he knew how to do it so the ref wouldn't see it. This is kind of what just took place here.
Right? Because you want to have the elbows up when you need them. You don't want to go do every check with an elbows up. Ref's going to see that.
Exactly.
Right? But a little and maybe a little as you're leaving. When you see the refs turned away, nothing wrong with that. But the goal here, remember, the goal here is not to antagonize Trump, and the goal here is not to go to the United States and give him back as good as he gave from us so that we can have our 5 minutes of catharsis. Right? This is an ongoing relationship. So it's go there. Make it clear that you're not going to get pushed around. Make it clear that you do know how to stand up for yourself. Make it clear that you too know how to play the game.
Show them who's boss.
Show them that there is no weakness because Trump's sniffing him out for weakness. So he's doing all the things that are needed to earn his respect as an equal who should be in that room. That's the first step. He's going to be taken seriously. But this is a sort of like, who are you? Who are you? Sniffing each other. Think of two dogs sniffing each other's butt. It's like, okay, yeah, we can deal. And yet they're just sniffing each other's butt. So there's only so high the elbows need to go. That's the best way I could put it. Sorry for the imagery.
Well, it's. I think it's fitting. I think it's accurate. So, realistically,
we'll go to the last little bit of this one here, 29:22, and this is sort of like the last bit. Now remember when I think Trump's talked about concepts of a plan or to other stuff. Concepts makes a return.
Concepts of a plan. 29,
22.
30, 22.
Yep.
Second here. I got several things working in the background here.
Concepts makes a return, and then there's like a whole bunch of like, and now you see that Trump really is destabilized because Carney made like the couple of statements a couple of times, intervened, talked about the trade stuff, this, and so now you're going to watch Trump run right to, like we saw Pierre do, his rhetorical safety blanket. This is all the greatest hits, like this, and then realize that it's not going for him, and the interviews, this smooth session is done, and it's done as it seems that Mr. Carney wanted to say something else, so maybe that was a good time to end it, given that he probably didn't want to see Mr. Carney outplay him for the cameras yet one more time.
Mr. President, what changes would you like to see to the USMCA? Or what changes would you like to make?
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum. And I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well. Right now, going no further, but we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada, which helps Canada out?
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out.
Oh my God. He's a blithering idiot. This is the guy who shows up to take the oral exam and clearly has not done any studying or any work, and he's going to try and talk his way out of it and around it, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And when everything goes to shit, he'll blame Nutlick.
I love it when you roll your eyes like that.
He's a blithering idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's never prepared for anything because he's a narcissist. He thinks he knows better than everybody. And that's what narcissists do. They know better than everybody. Only I can fix it. He's the textbook definition of a narcissist. And if people can't see that, well, I can't help you. I literally can't help you if you cannot see that. There's nothing I can do for you. He's a narcissist and a blithering idiot on top of it. at least with some narcissists, they have a little bit of intelligence to back up the stupidity that they say, but this man is just an idiot. And on that note, I do have to go. I'm running way late, so I am going to take my leave. I will see all you folks later today if you want to join for an ASMR. I'm going to try and do a live one later this afternoon. I have a few things I have to take care of. Another busy day and on the job search. Had a couple of interviews yesterday. We'll see what happens. One that isn't, it was a good interview, but it's like it's just not a proper fit. I don't write code, and they need somebody who writes code. And I'm like, okay, I can't help with that. I can do all this other stuff, but I can't do that. And he goes, yes, I know, I understand. He says, would you be willing to take some courses? And I'm like, sure. Who's going to pay me to do it, though? Is the thing, right? Like, if I have to take a full-time course to upgrade my skill set while I'm on EI, I'll lose my EI. So, you're screwed. If I take a course full-time while I'm at home, I lose my EI. And I can't afford to not have that right now because that's the only source of income I have, and I am desperately broke. And I want to. I'm. There's no other way to say it. I'm desperately broke. It's just how it is. EI pays very, very little. It's barely more than CERB. Like barely more than CERB. So, anyway, that's not a woe is me. That's just a simple statement of fact. So, anyway, I do have to go. I'm going to try and line up some work. Between now and then, hopefully you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will jump on an ASMR sometime this afternoon. I haven't got a predetermined time. Just pay attention to the channel, and when it pops up, it pops up. Until then, have yourselves a great day. I'll see you.
My friend. Have a great day. Bye. And since we're doing a little promo, Kits and Cubs, yours truly will be returning to the fabulous and fierce Laura Babcock's O Show tomorrow. So watch for that. We'll be recording it and talking a little bit about post-election stuff and maybe this. So, yeah, it should be a fun time. It's always a joy to spend some time with Laura. All right, so back to it, Kits and Cubs. We're just going to finish off the moment that we had here because Mr. Grizzly got exasperated before it was done. So, understandably so. But yes, we'll finish off here and show how Trump sort of like goes off at the end. So we've heard about the concepts, and we heard how we're not like talk about the last special exemption with regard to auto parts, and now the president is going to be asked another question about USMCA, if I'm not mistaken here.
Anything the Prime Minister can say to you today to change your mind on tariff in Canada?
Darn, I just went through that damn thing and it's imposing it on me again. So while that goes through, Kits and Cubs, I will just come back to you here and let that play. I'm so sorry for that. I had queued it up, but apparently it did not want to cooperate with me. So, yeah, basically the question here is going to be about whether or not there's anything the Prime Minister can say to get him to change his mind on tariffs.
Tariffing cars?
Tariffing Canada. Is there anything he can say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
What's the first state? If Canadians don't want it, would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved, and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like We had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada. And at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because.
All right. So right here, I'm going to make a little stop here because you saw how one last time Mr. Carney intervened, and this one was to remind the president about the size of the market and all of that kind of stuff. So again, he wanted to go down a road, polite intervention, respectfully, right, and then ends it again with something that the president can take and run with. Now, with regard to the aluminum, for example, what Donald Trump is saying here, because the reality is that there are, for example, I think there are 4 aluminum smelters in the United States. There are 10 in Canada, and the United States hasn't built a new one in about 50 years because that's how good the arrangement is. So it's going to take a while when he says we don't need their aluminum or aluminium, I should say. They do. They literally do in this case, right? So, and there are various products like that. Potash, I think it's 90% of our exports go there, and there's steel, I think it's like 70%, and so I think, and then the percentage of oil that they buy, which I'm not sure how large it is off the top of my head, but it's not like they can do without it. It's energy. You just need it. So that particular line, right? Like this is just the prime minister had to again make it very clear. So you see over the course of this 30-something minutes, our prime minister only speaks about like 4 or 5 times, right? And the thing here as well, you'll remember he said, first point, right? Canada will not be the 51st state because since the prime minister said it last time, Trump tried 2 more times with never, ever, never, ever. So by doing it this way, especially since the press availability ends soon after, the prime minister ensured that the last word, the last public word on 51st state is not the president's, but his. Sliding it in there at the end. Very deftly. All right. Let's go back.
We want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year.
So you can see here Mr. Carney raising his hand a little bit like this because he wants to intervene. You see Donald Trump's going through his greatest hits here, right? Governor Trudeau, we're subsidizing you, kind of stuff, right? So that last one from Mr. Carney, we said respectfully like this, that was like Trump has tried 3 times and 3 times it hasn't worked. So he's now a little destabilized and he's just rambling off stuff, going back to all the things that he usually says. So this is what I call the rhetorical safety blanket. And now he's stringing them together which is usually a sign that you're destabilized and panicking.
We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantive. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So there you go. It just like that, it ends. Now, I say just like that, it ends. Remember, these things usually last 15 minutes. We're at 34 minutes here, or 33 or something like that. So this was an surprisingly extended availability. So clearly, the president thought that things were going well. So yes, after all of this is said and done, some pretty good reviews overall from people with regard to everything that has happened, which is good. He seems to have passed the test. I personally was impressed. I was watching this and I'm thinking, okay, if this is not a 10 out of 10, this is 9 out of 10, because solid 9, because he did a lot in those few interventions, and just overall demeanor and staying cool and knowing when not to bite and all that type of stuff. This is good. And it seems that Trump is not upset in any way, shape, or form with everything. Again, as we'll see through the press today, whether or not he changes his mind overnight, or whether something happens today, or whether he sees all the positive press that Carney is getting, and maybe he decides he doesn't like that, so he needs to slag him a bit. Who knows? With Trump, it keeps on changing. But at that point, it seemed fairly good. Right? After that, the rest of the day happened. Then the Prime Minister Carney had his press availability at the Canadian Embassy, which was very smart to do that alone, to not have an opportunity for them to be up again and have another attempt at this. That first part went right. That's good enough for today. Let's take the win and run home with that. So I thought that was a smart strategic decision at that point. And then you get the clips afterwards and people talking about it on the news. And again, seems generally overall positive. Now you're going to have the crew that are negative no matter what, but it seems that the positive comments even came like from across the board, across party lines, that type of stuff. So that's very, very positive for us as Canadians. I might have a little bit of a reaction for you here, kits and cubs, if you will if I can beg your indulgence a little bit while I am looking for it. The meeting takes place, right? You're getting all this this good reaction, all of that. We're still waiting to see what the fallout will be, of course, if anything will change along the way. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, the Conservatives were having their caucus meeting, which was taking place, and they chose their new interim leader. And we'll get to that a little bit later because I got a few little tidbits for you before we end the show. But one of the clips I have here for you is in French, kits and cups. And this one surprised me. I actually fell off my seat, and I'm going to have to do a simultaneous translation for you as I give it to you. But this is Dimitri Soudas, if I remember correctly, was Harper's former chief of staff. Very, very, very partisan, hyper-partisan. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Dimitri Soudas's time with Harper did not end well for him, if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me on that one. That might be that's memory from a long time ago resurfacing. but I know that he was intrinsic with Harper. And then at one point he was not. He just was not. This is so when I'm saying that, like, some praise came from across party lines. You've got 4 people here. I'm not familiar with the person in the upper left-hand corner, but the person in the upper right-hand corner was a well-known minister, I believe, in the can't remember which government, but in the provincial Quebec government, a very important player. And then below is, of course, Françoise Boivin, NDP MP from the Ottawa region, under Jack Layton, not sitting anymore. And then, of course, Dimitri Soudas here in the bottom left. All right. So even the person in the upper right-hand corner, if you're listening to this whole thing, had some pretty positive things. He gave Mark Carney an overall a B. And this is from, again, an audience that maybe not necessarily would be prone to be in his camp. Let's just put it that way. But when it comes to Dimitri Soudas, this was a very, very interesting comment that made my eyes pop. Well, actually, I should probably say make my ears stand up, but in a good way. All right, kids and cubs, let's hear what it is.
La meilleure prestation d'un leader qui a visité le bureau ovale depuis que Donald Trump est au pouvoir.
Basically calls it the best performance by any leader who visited the Oval Office since Donald Trump has been in power.
Et si il continue comme ça, je vais l'appeler Carney le charmeur, même
If he continues like this, I'm going to call him Carney the charmer.
Carney le dompteur.
Even Carney the lion tamer.
Parce qu'il a réussi aujourd'hui à dompter, enfin, il a commencé à dompter Donald Trump, à votre avis.
Because today he managed to, or he started to tame Donald Trump. That is Dimitri Soudas, kids and cubs. I really couldn't believe it when I heard that. So yeah, some good reaction all across the board. One of the people who we were looking to for his reaction, of course, kits and cubs, is a friend of the pod, Josh Mirando, who came on our show a couple weeks ago to help us look through the platforms. And he had his assessment, and I was very anxious to see what it would be like, to see how it compared to ours. And I liked what he had to say here. He says, "This was the moment Carney's whole campaign built toward, standing toe-to-toe with Trump in public under pressure. He walked into a room with a hostile trade partner, tariff pressure, and a global audience, and held space with calm credibility and strength. No theatrics, no flinching, just a firm, clear boundary and a reminder that leadership is about showing up steady in volatile rule." Let me try that again. No theatrics, no flinching, just a firm, clear boundary and a reminder that leadership is about showing up steady in volatile rooms. This is what Canadians hired him to do, and he's doing it well. Now, of course, because you know my musical mind, I'm hearing LL Cool J song, doing it and doing it and doing it well, doing it and doing it and doing it well in the background in my head. But yeah, Josh is absolutely correct here when he's making his assessment. As far as I can see, because if I'm looking at it overall, even though, it took a little turn at the end, it's like, we don't need anything from you at the end. Throughout the whole thing, Carney picked, 2 or 3 really good moments to respectfully correct the record, but not more. Smart. Right? As we mentioned, the after the final one, the thing was abruptly ended. The last thing out there with regard to 51st State is Carney saying, it's not going to happen. That's good. All the pre-meeting tricks, like the inflammatory social media posts and being 15 minutes late and all that kind of stuff, didn't seem to have any effect. Carney appeared to be totally unbothered by all of that. Handshake went well. Trump was effusive, right? Trump was trying to relate to Carney as well, right? Comparing their come-from-behind underdog victories. Says, yeah, we got something in common here, right? The scheduling of the day, smart. That's good to do. Then you're looking at the meeting, right? Entry-level flattery, a bit of good-naturedness, right? Some laughs. Very strategically planned, well-rehearsed, and expertly delivered pushback. Picked up on the real estate thing, was able to take real estate and frame the 51st state thing in real estate terms that Donald Trump could understand. Picked his moments, didn't jump on everything. IQ 47 for Trump. Really appreciated the White House and Buckingham Palace references in the real estate thing, right? Like I said, you could see him think, well played. But 2 or 3 times was enough. And Carney did not pull focus otherwise. It's looking pretty good overall, I have to admit. For a first contact, right, in which Prime Minister Carney did tell us, right, not to wait for any white smoke. It wasn't going to happen. We did pretty well overall. The press is good. Didn't poke the bear. Stood up to him when we needed to. He respects strength. He respects the type of business experience.
The Forex.com app. Use one swipe trading to enjoy.
Sorry about that. Respects the experience that he brings. So all of this is positive as we are going in to what comes next. And both of them agreeing that this is literally just the first step. And at least for the moment, from what we can tell, with regard to the Trump camp, again, we have to wait to see if today is going to be different, or if he feels different about it today. But yesterday, after it, Trump was at something having to do with FIFA because, right, it's going to be a continental World Cup. And while he was there, I guess he was asked about it. And he had this to say.
As far as calling him Governor Carney, no, I haven't done that yet, and maybe I won't. I did have a lot of fun with Trudeau, but I think this is a big step up. It's a good step up for Canada. I watched very closely. I thought he did really terrifically in the debates. I like him. You know, he's a nice man. We get along very well. We had a great meeting today. Really good. I think the relationship's going to be very strong.
All right. So, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, that's pretty darn good. So, much better than the day after the G7 Charlevoix meeting or something like that with back in the days with Prime Minister Trudeau. I was going to say President Trudeau for some reason. I was getting my honorifics mixed up. A little bit of levity for you kids and cubs here. This is Katie Simpson talking about some of the stuff that I've been mentioning with regard to, the news only being stable for a certain amount of time when it comes to Trump.
So that will be interesting to watch for now. But the other things I'm looking for are Canada specific, are his attack dogs, his cabinet ministers who are particularly partisan, or cabinet secretaries, pardon me, who are particularly partisan. Are they going to get out and attack Canada and, say that, that Canada's been ripping the United States off and raise the concerns about the longstanding irritants in the trade relationship? I'll be looking for that. But the early sign, and I know it's early, we don't know how the day is going to go until Donald Trump goes to bed. And as someone who covers the Trump administration, sometimes a post on social media at 9:30 at night can ruin my life because I have to go back to work and change everything. But, so like until Donald Trump goes to bed, we don't really know how today went. So all the signs right now are that Donald Trump had a good meeting at a separate event after the meeting with Carney. He talked about how it was a good meeting and how he's a step up from Trudeau and how, the positive things and compliments directed at Carney. That is what he's feeling in this moment. How does he feel 3 hours from now? How does he feel tomorrow? Until Donald Trump goes to bed, we don't know how the day went. That's really the type of power and the situation we are in this moment.
No, that is a very good point. And in this moment, we can be here talking about how the tone is different and this meeting looks like it went well. And over on Fox Business News, Peter Navarro or Howard Lutnick could be saying something completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
And who knows where it goes from there. Okay, we're going to...
Yeah. That's the sad truth about this whole circus thing, isn't it, kids and cubs? But yes, I can sympathize and empathize with Katie Simpson there. Because that's literally, so imagine if it's that frustrating for journalists. Imagine if you're trying to run a country. It's like, well, you just pick a lane and stick to it. Oh man. Wow. Okay, kits and cubs. You know what? I think that's about it for today. The only thing additional that I have for you is that again, kits and cubs, the Conservative Party had their meeting yesterday. A caucus meeting started at 9 a.m. It seems that people had a lot to say because after 5 p.m. It was still going on, which was very interesting. I would assume that there were a lot of requests in that meeting for certain changes. We'll see whether that happens. Now, times are interesting for Pierre Poilievre because things are getting a little complicated for him because you have the whole Danielle Smith stoking separatism thing as he's running to Alberta for a safe seat. He's going to be in her backyard. And as we said yesterday, it seems that she has his balls in her handbag. So he's going to be asked often now that he's representing or seeking to represent a riding in Alberta, how he feels about this issue. And I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to dance on a high wire without giving her full-throated support because she does not like to be contradicted. And she will come for you if you do. So he has that problem. He also has the interesting little problem of Doug Ford yesterday making some comments that seemed to indicate he was not very happy with Danielle Smith and finding her unhelpful, while at the same time the leader of the Parti Québécois congratulating Danielle Smith fiercely for her dedication to separation. So I'm not sure if Danielle Smith had planned on the actual separatists from Quebec who are in the lead and might be proposing referendum on their own separation, joining her camp, and her thinking that that might be helpful to her. But now she is tagged with that, which is something, again, Mr. Poilievre, I'm sure will be asked about and will be creating a very uncomfortable situation. There's also the reality that with all those votes and those extra seats from Ontario that the Conservatives brag about having gotten during this election, well, that also means that the Ontario caucus of the Conservative Party of Canada is now bigger than the Alberta caucus. In fact, the Ontario caucus is bigger than the Alberta and the Saskatchewan caucus combined. Conservatives have 53 seats in Ontario and 34 in Alberta and 13 in Saskatchewan. So the West is no longer the center of the universe within the Conservative Party of Canada when it comes to seats in Parliament at the moment. That could create some opportunities for some friction. If we're looking at East-West, and Manitoba is kind of, depends how you want to count them, because, 7 seats went Conservative and 6 seats went Liberal. So it's almost like Manitoba is being pulled closer to the center and does have Wapkunu as a premier then more with the West. But let's say if you leave Manitoba with the West, if you're looking at BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, there are 73 seats for the Conservatives. And if you're looking at Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland, Labrador, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, but not PEI because there are no Conservatives on PEI federally, that's 71. 73 for the West, 71 for the East. That's a different balance within the party itself when it comes to caucus management. So Pierre is going to have those issues again. And it seems that the party did vote to give itself the powers of the Reform Act, which means that the party has given itself a mechanism to get rid of the leader, should it want to. Some people could read a lot into this. The Conservative Party always votes for it to give itself this power. So in this case, you can't really read anything into it. But given all the special dispositions that Pierre has been asking for, I'm surprised that there was no request that this not take place. So it seems that the party has reserved the right to be able to dump him should need be. Now, he's going to have a by-election. That's going to happen in a certain amount of time. But the party constitution also requires a leadership review when you lose an election. And that leadership review, I have found out now, is not scheduled before sometime this spring. That's a lot of time for a lot of people to change their minds, especially if Pierre's tight grip on the party and dictatorial management style and bullying, allegedly, management style persists. I don't think he will have much of the luxury of that because even though they're sticking with him, he did lose. But if Mr. Carney, Prime Minister Carney, keeps on performing like he has in this one meeting, there is the possibility that by the time that leadership vote comes around, that the polls indicate that the race is no longer as tight. Maybe Canadians will develop a shine to Prime Minister Carney and say, you know what? Maybe we should have given him a majority the first time around. It's too bad that he's only got a minority, and that would not be a very good time for PP to try to provoke an election. And it might send the signal to the party that maybe in fact they do need a new leader. So Pierre doesn't have it in the bag yet. He might have running in that by-election in the bag and getting a seat back in the House of Commons back in the bag. But he's going to basically be on a probationary period with his party up until sometime this spring. And it's a secret ballot in their leadership vote. And that is how they got rid of O'Toole. And it does not seem that there's going to be any less animosity between Doug Ford and the Poilievre camp, especially if Poilievre is in Alberta and Doug Ford is slagging Danielle Smith or saying that she's being unhelpful. She's going to want Pierre to pick. And given that she keeps on pumping his tires by saying effusive things about him, still can't figure out whether or not it's to help him or to hurt him. If it's to help him, great. If it's to hurt him, like I said, ministerial responsibility might require her to make a sudden shift to federal politics because there's a couple of files that if she remains in a leadership in Alberta that she'll want to be, people will want to ask questions about. Maybe she's getting tired of those questions. So can't tell yet whether or not she's coming for Pierre's job or anything of the like, or whether or not this is genuine and she just really supports him. But yeah, this is going to cause some trouble. So, of course, as we showed to you, Kits and Cubs, the Conservative Party of Canada had that little commercial that Pierre Poilievre filmed probably in a field on Mr. Couric, who's generously given up his seat on his farm, on his family ranch with Anna, and saying, you know, that he needs to grow and learn, something he has not shown much capacity for yet. But okay, no problem there. If that's what you say you need to do, that's good. And I guess we're going to see whether or not that is possible. But for a party that ran on change, I cannot help but wonder if they're understanding the assignment, because first they dig up PM Voldemort from the crypt during the election campaign to breathe life into the Polyev campaign. Then Polyev loses and decides that he's going to run to the safest seat in the country, because that's how you show strength when you're going to be sitting in the room across from Trump, to ask for a do-over. So the voters in Carleton asked for change, not you. Canada asked for change, as in Carney, not your version of conservatives, and yet he's going to find a way to still be in our faces every day. And then the party needs to choose an interim leader for this period until Pierre gets to access Parliament all over again. And, well, who do they pick? Because nothing says we're the party of apple munching freaking change like naming the guy you had as leader in 2019 who was already rejected to the position of interim leader. The more things change. They named Andrew frickin' Scheer as the interim leader. The guy that Canada rejected, the other guy Canada rejected, and who didn't leave Parliament after. Now, in all fairness, given that Pierre is probably feeling very, very threatened, given that he's running in the safest seat in the damn country, I guess he was also very happy that the party picked the safest possible person in terms of any threats to him, because I guess if they picked someone new who wasn't as terrible at the job as is Andrew Scheer, then again, by the time the by-election happens this fall, and let's say the polls, let's say there's a summer dip, well, seeing an interim leader in the job might give the party some ideas. We can't have that. So we get more Andrew Scheer for a change. Kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. I see you here, and the kids, they seriously picked Scheer? Good God. Scheer, that did surprise me, but makes sense in some Stranger Things upside down sort of way. Oh, my word. Kids and cubs, I love you so much. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us, because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring, and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We love it when you do. If you're sharing anything, remember to write a little something when you do, because when you add your own touch to it, it really does help more people. It encourages more people to take a look at it. Remember, you are all people of influence in your own circles. So when you help spread the word, it means a lot to us. And when you add a little more to it, it means even more, because it shows how personally invested you are. And when we see it, it really does touch us. So thank you. Thank you so much. They're nice little gifts when they happen. And it's nice to, like, every now and then, every day receive a couple of little presents just like that. Provokes warm fuzzies. So you always bring sunshine to my day when you do stuff like that. If you would like to make sure you do not miss an episode, because sometimes you can't always be watching. You're on the go. You're busy. You're doing stuff, man, making things happen. It's a busy world, and you're a very important person. So turns out we're portable. Take us along with you if you're busy. Put us in your ears. Our ears-only version available via our pod page, podpage.com/the the True North Eager Beaver, with a hyphen between each one of those words, with much thanks to the Ray Girl for sponsoring that for us. If you go there and you click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. And therefore, you don't have to go looking for us. We make it very, very convenient to find us. So thank you so much. And to all the people who have been finding us on podcast again and putting us back on the charts, thank you so very much. We really do appreciate it. It helps us a lot. Just being seen on the charts also gets people to see, oh, who's that? And then go take a look and go take a listen. And we get some new subscribers and listeners that way too. So we have to be visible for people to notice. So when you put us on the charts, people see us. And thank you so much for that. It's a big deal. If you would like to help us in other ways, kits and cubs, surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, which is bustling with activity these days. Post-election, it seems that our advertising push and our debate night live special, which I think at one point the view counter showed over 13,000 people having tuned in. So thank you to everybody who did. But it seems like from that, we got some people who decided to stay with us because our daily show counts, the average has really jumped up just leading into the election and especially since. So very, very grateful for the extra viewership. Thank you for coming to the Beaver Lodge and by the numbers letting us know that what we're doing is resonating with you. That means the world to us. So yeah, if you are relatively new to the Beaver Lodge, every day, usually every day, sometimes we have some pre-records, but we do this live and we do it, broadcast it from our YouTube channel. And that's where most of the Dam Fam joins the chat. So if you're watching live and you're not watching us via YouTube, please do. And that way you get to participate in some great conversation with some really, really delightful people who are very, very knowledgeable and slightly cheeky. So it's a good time. All right. Thank you so much. And if you're coming to our page, please do click on our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm. And if you happen to be listening to us in podcast version, if you have the opportunity to leave some stars or reviews, please do. Again, it helps us be visible and that helps people find us. If you would like to help us in another way, kits and cubs, we do incur some financial costs to bring this show to you, subscriptions, internet fees, advertising, that type of stuff. So if you would like to help us with that, we would be very grateful to get a hand up from the Dam Fam. And you can do that by making a contribution to the Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund, where every day we work very hard to keep our beaver moist. Because dry beaver is, well, it's a little grating. So if you would like to help us on our mission, well, we've got ways. For example, if you're listening on YouTube, we do have our super chat function that you can donate through that way. If you would like to make a donation via our coffee page, which is pretty simple, you just scan that QR code that's appeared right there in the corner. Or if you're listening, you go to ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And there you can make a donation. No donation is too small. So don't worry about that, because every drop and tittle adds to the pot, as Madonna sings in her song More. And it's your show. So, and we would not have been able to do this for as long as we have if it hasn't been for your contributions. So please, if you only feel like you have a little bit, do not feel embarrassed that it's not enough. Everything is very much appreciated. Now, if you're not able to contribute financially, that is not a problem, because as we keep on telling you, the gifts of your participation and attention are the ones that matter the most to us, and we love to hear from you. Please, please, please write to us, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know if you have some suggestions for guests. If you have some constructive criticism, please be gentle, but we love to hear it. Everything you tell us helps us make the show better. We read all your comments. We're not able to get back to you, everyone, but everything goes into the show, and we are grateful for your participation. Also, remember, we're trying to do a Q&A show. So if you have any questions about politics that you would like us to answer, or any questions about the behind the scenes of the show, just please send us a Q&A message to our email address, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And when we have enough of them together, we'll be able to put that type of special on for you. Thank you so very much for all your participation. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Because democracy is something that you do, the Quebec Liberal leadership race is taking place, and I do have a little bit more information. Registration period, of course, is over, but the voting will take place from June 9th to June 14th. And unlike other conventions, the results will be released 1 month later on July 14th. Interesting process, but that's the way it is for the moment. It seems that they had a debate recently, just a couple of days ago. So that was very positive as well. If I'm not mistaken, there are 5 candidates in the race at the moment. There's Marc Bélanger, who is a former tax lawyer. There's Carl Blackburn, who is a former president of the Conseil du Patronat du Québec and Director General of the Quebec Liberal Party. He was also a membre de l'Assemblée nationale, member of the National Assembly for Robert Val from 2003 to 2007. Then you have a gentleman named Charles Milliard, who is the president of la Fédération des Chambres du Commerce du Québec, or the president of the Chambers of Commerce of Quebec. Appropriately, his last name, Milliard, translated into English, means billion. So Charles Billion, president of the Federation of the Chambers of Commerce. It kind of fits. Pablo Rodriguez, who you have heard of before because he was a member of the Trudeau government for a long time, Minister of Heritage. He left the party, stepped down in order to be able to throw his hat in the ring here. So also a former Minister of Transport, former Quebec Lieutenant for the Liberal Party, and the MP for Honoré Mercier from 2004 to 2011, and then again from 2015 to 2025. And finally, Mario Roy, who's a farmer and an economist. So those are the 5. Pablo Rodriguez is leading in public opinion. Now, the most recent public opinion is February 2nd, but he was leading at 27% there versus his closest rival, Denis Coderre, which was 11%. And Denis Coderre is no longer in the race, it would appear. He's the former mayor of Montreal from 2013 to 2017, former federal president of the Privy Council, former federal minister of citizenship and immigration, and MP for Bourassa from 1997 to 2013. So around the Chrétien time, he was disqualified from the race on February 7th for some reason. So he is no longer in it. And there was one candidate who withdrew, whose name was Frédéric Beauchemin. He was the MNA currently for the riding of Marguerite Bourgeois from, I guess, and he decided, he withdrew on January 13th after being in the race for about 4 months. So that's where things stand with that. Okay. That is all I got for you on the democracy, something that you do. Words of wisdom, kits and cubs. You know what? Breathe. Exhale. So far, so good. Celebrate the little wins. And then we roll up our sleeves and we keep on working. All right. Thank you so much for your love, support, and encouragement, kits and cubs. That's all I have got for you today. Remember, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, kits and cubs, please, a little audience participation. I need your help. Say the magic words. Mr. Beaver, cue the cock. Yeah. There you are. I hear you. Okay. I got you. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community. and the Pepper Master. Hot pepper sauce is made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kids and cubs, before we go, because we always like to do a little bit of a moment where we can celebrate Canadians who make us proud. There is a sport that I am learning about named futsal, Futsal, which is a sort of football, as in soccer type related sport that is played indoors on a much smaller court. Well, it seems that over the course of the weekend, Canada's national women's futsal team won gold medal at the women's CONCACAF. That's the region for all, God, I can't remember. It's like the Caribbean and I think all of Central America and North America, and that portion. But yes, they won the whole thing. So congratulations to them. I'm not sure if that means that they advanced to a further level. But it was the first ever CONCACAF Women's Football Championship, and Team Canada won that. So there you go. It's not a sport I'm familiar with, to be totally honest. But I guess we'll be hearing more about it since we have CONCACAF champions now. Another bit of congratulations goes out, kids and cubs, to Patrick Chan, who was inducted into the Canada Sports Hall of Fame and honored with the Order of Sport for his legendary career. Several-time world champion in figure skating, one of the best on the blade in terms of footwork in particular. Much deserved, well earned. Also, at the World Championships of Rugby Sevens, Canada's women's team took bronze, defeating the United States 27-7 in the bronze medal match. They had faced Australia, very powerful Australians, in the semifinals in order to get to the bronze medal match. So that is a big victory for them. And last but not least, Victoria Mboko, that young lady who I've been telling you about with regards to tennis. I do not know what they've put in her water bottle. But she just keeps on winning. It is ridiculous. But yesterday, she was on the courts again in the second round of her tournament. Second round of qualifications for the Rome Masters 1000. Not sure if they call it Masters 1000 for the women, but it's 1000 level. So basically, you got the 4 Grand Slams and you have 9 tennis tournaments over the course of the year that are worth 1,000 points. The Grand Slams are worth 2,500. So they are really, really big deals. They're considered mandatory events. So she got, because she had this incredible season up until now, got an invitation to the qualification round, and she played her first match, defeating somebody that was top 100 in the world in order to get to the second round. And yesterday, she played her second round match against somebody who is named Rakimova. That's her last name. First name is Kamila Rakimova, who is ranked 85th in the world. And you have to remember that at this time, Victoria Mboko goes into this ranked 156th, right? She lost the first set 6-4, then won the next two 6-1, 6-1. Just completely took her off the court. So she's in the first round of a Masters 1000 main draw right now on the court. And she got very lucky in getting a very favorable draw. Every now and then in the tournament, they have a wild card spot which they usually reserve someone from the country to give them a chance to play at the higher level who's not there yet. And it seems that Victoria Mboko drew her in the first round. and she's on court right now, currently leading 3-2 with a break point to go up 4-0. So if she wins this one, which she should be predicted to based on the rankings, she would actually be going to the second round of a Masters 1000. Again, she started the year at 300 and something in the world. And the way she's going, she could very well finish the year in the top 100. So a lot to cheer for. And later on today, Bianca Andreescu will also be on the court with her comeback effort, trying to win some important matches and to climb up the rankings. So that's all I got for you, kits and cubs. Hope you have a most beaverific day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye, everyone.